Any interactions or any stories about RVD?
Just saw him high about a fucking million times. But
Well, that's every time you seen him, he was high,
every
right?
time I ever saw him. But no, I didn't. You know, and there were some other wrestlers at OVW that like partaking in it. One of them I managed. Well, fuck, you know, I'll just say it. Shit, it was Rene Dupree. We couldn't, once Rene Dupree discovered that shit, you couldn't keep him off from it. And now there was a few others, but being as I managed him, I'll drop his name. But I hear he's doing better. Plus, he married a hot Asian girl, so he can't be all bad these days.
Yeah, I was sharing this the other day with some young OVW guys. You remember the story of John Cena when we were all at the Louisville basket game. I was with you all, and
we were all at the Louisville where
Bats or River Bats game. I think is what they call it.
That's the game we were the waiters on.
I think so, but you remember all the girls that like just went nuts over Cena, and I think he ended up getting like every one of their numbers and probably banged all of them.
I forgot the first pitch of the Louisville Bats with the AAA developmental team for the Cincinnati Reds, which I've been a diehard Reds fan probably since I was 4 years old.
Well, I think at that time it was the River Bats. I believe I can't remember if it was the Buck or the Brewers. Did we have a farm team for the Brewers for a while?
No, we were with the Reds then because Dave Miley was the manager.
Okay.
Dave Miley loved me and Rico Constantino, and he invited us to the stadium on the 4th of July for a pregame cookout in the dugout, and the players weren't even invited. He had me and Cena, the Bat staff, Miley and his kids, and me, Rico, and Cena, and we had a cookout in the Louisville Bats dugout, and he didn't want the players there because he was scared to death they'd eat all the good food, and he had it catered, and they grilled out the burgers and brats and dogs and all that, and a great day. And Cena was just blown away that the AAA manager and then eventually the manager of the Cincinnati Reds loved us. Oh, they bring us into the clubhouse when the games are over. We'd be back there eating catered meals with the players, and most of the players knew who we were. But every now and then, like, who are these three guys? You know, oh, they're with Ohio Valley Wrestling. They're developmental for the WWE, and they just lose their minds and they'd want pictures and ask questions. And now, help me remember, because my biggest fan was a guy. He was number 55, and he went on and played for the Reds, and he went on and played for Colorado, and he pitched and hit, and he's the only player in the history of baseball to hit a home run as a starting pitcher, a relief pitcher, and a designated hitter, and a starting player. God, I'm blanking out, but it was number 55.
I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah, look at it. It was number 55, and he
got 2002.
God, probably somewhere between 2000 and 2002. It was when Rico and Cena were really early in the game. Big Show was here because the celebrity waiters for that game were me, Mark Henry, Cena, and the Big Show.
He was pitching too. He pitched.
Yeah. He was a relief pitcher. It seems like the name started with a D. Last name started with a D, and he was number 55 for the Louisville Bats. And he gave Chris his bats, his hats, his batting gloves, and everything the last game of the season, because Chris was bat boy for the Bats the last game of the season that year, and he was the captain of my batting practice team, and I hit a home run off Grant Jackson that day, and then Dave Miley come in and pitched and beamed me for having the audacity to hit a home run off a Hall of Fame pitcher.
Someone else asked, "What do you think?" We talked about earlier about RVD. What do you think about legalizing marijuana?
Well, I used to be absolutely, totally against it, but if it will decriminalize it, if it'll get a lot of the people out of jail or in prisons that were dealing, selling, and using marijuana, I think the prisons ought to be for hardcore violent criminals only. I don't think we're doing anything to help our nation or our people by locking up people that did not commit a violent crime. Now, this lady that Trump pardoned recently, I was all for that until I heard that she was a dealer and a money launderer for an $84 million drug deal. She told the courts, well, I lost my job and I was trying to feed my kids. Well, those ought to be the fattest little motherfuckers on the planet Earth if she had $84 goddamn million. All I know is if I was involved in an $84 million crime, and trust me, didn't make that much off Kroger, an $84 million crime, I would not expect to see the light of day again. And I know she was old and she'd been in prison for 20-something years. And I guess if anybody ought to be released for an $84 million crime, she would be the one. But I guarantee you they wouldn't let me go. You let me steal $84 million worth of meat, and I didn't steal it. I just got a refund on it. It would, I'd have never saw the light of day again. So that was my problem. She wasn't feeding her kids. She was fucking feeding the goddamn planet. With $84 million, I'll get everybody a can of bean soup or something.
There's a Brooks. There's a guy named Brooks. I can't pronounce his last name for Louisville Bats.
Brooks Kieschnick. That's my guy.
That's it. Kieschnick,
I knew it
that's
was
how you say it.
Last name. I said it started with a D. I was wrong. Brooks Kieschnick.
Brooks, yeah.
And that is a tough last name, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's why I can never
is.
think of it.
Yeah.
Greatest guy I ever met. I even prayed. Well, he prayed and I stood there. I had his locker with him before the game. So we would pray he would hit a home run that day. And I'll be damned if he did. And I said, well, shit, maybe I should do some of this praying stuff. But I never did. But Brooks Kieschnick, nicest guy I ever knew. And he holds major league records for being the only player to ever hit a home run as a relief pitcher, a starting pitcher. I think also as a designated hitter, because in the National League, they DH'd when American League teams played, and as a starting player. So he hit home runs out of all four positions. And no other player in the history of baseball has done that. And I don't think it'll ever happen again. But maybe that pitcher for California would have had a chance, but he just got hurt. And he hadn't done it yet as a relief pitcher, a starting pitcher, a DH, and a starting player. He mainly pitches and DHs, and he was a starting pitcher. But that's what Brooks Kieschnick did, and he did all that with Colorado. And he played for the Reds. The Reds traded him there, and I was so disappointed because Kieschnick was my hookup for Cincinnati Reds games, and him and Miley. And so Miley got fired. Kieschnick got traded, so my two main hookups for Cincinnati Reds games were gone. And but no, Brooks is just the nicest guy. I need to look him up, man, and see if he's still around.
He was drafted by my Cubs, and then he played in a lot of their minor teams, and then he came to the Reds, played for the River Bats, played for the Reds. Then he went to the Rockies, like you were saying.
Oh, he loved me for some reason. And he wasn't even a big wrestling fan. He just really liked me for some reason. He would see me hanging around the park, and we just kind of buddied up. But no, I rode that for all it was worth. When me and Miley were friends, I was at that park probably twice a week. Whenever I wasn't doing wrestling shows, I was at Bats games. And Miley liked having me there because the Bats were undefeated with me in the stadium. So when he went to the Cincinnati Reds, I tried to get in the game that night, but he had such a tremendous pass list that night that I got to him too late and I couldn't get in. So when he got sent to the Yankees, the Reds fired him and he became the minor league manager of the Yankees. So I didn't want to bury him for getting, because I was throwing out the first pitch at night, me and Mr. Black and Sean O'Hare. So we were sent to the stadium. Chris was with me, and they had all of us out at the mound, but they're featuring me because I'd already thrown the first pitch out at Bats games 2 times before. Sean O'Hare's not a star yet, and neither is Mr. Black, but they're with me because they're big and fucking looks like my fucking henchman and my security. So they said, well, would you like to cut a promo on Miley? And I said, really? You're going to let me cut a promo on the opposing team's manager? I said, hell yeah, I'd like to cut a promo on Miley. I said, does he know what's coming? He said, he ain't got a clue. He said, he's just going to be sitting in the dugout, and when you take the mic, he said, but don't go over 4 minutes, because with our crowd, 4-minute wrestling promo might be an eternity. I said, trust me, I will get their attention. So I go out there, and I'm getting ready to throw out the first pitch. And, of course, no one has ever thrown the first. And then we'll make this the last story of the night, and then we'll do the after show. Nobody that's ever thrown out the first pitch has ever fucking at a minor league ball game cut a promo on the opposing team or even seen a microphone. So I'm out there in my suit, got Sean O'Hare, Mr. Black with me. Chris is off to the side of the dugout, and I'm calling for a microphone. So a guy comes running out of the dugout and he brings me a microphone. I said, how you doing, everybody? The crowd yells. I said, I need to take a poll here before I throw out my first pitch of the night. I said, how many people in here are Columbus Clipper fans? Because that's who he's managing. Boo, boo. They're just booing the shit out of the Clippers. I said, I said, how many people in here are Cincinnati Reds fans? And they start chanting. I said, I said, now how many of you are Louisville Bats fans? And then, of course, they all go nuts. And now I've got them in the palm of my hand. I said, that's exactly what I thought. I said, and I used to be friends with somebody over in that dugout. Y'all see him over there hiding, cowering down in the dugout? I said, his name's Dave Miley. He's the manager of the Columbus Clippers. And that man over there used to be a dear friend of mine. And I want you to know that we used to hang out here at the ballpark, and we got privileges, and we'd hang out in the clubhouse, and we'd break bread together. And then all of a sudden, the Cincinnati Reds calling him up to the majors. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, my childhood team. My best friend now manages the Cincinnati Reds. I'll be at every game. And then I want you to know, fans, that every time I called the Cincinnati Reds box office, Dave Miley didn't know who Kenny Bolin was. Dave Miley didn't have tickets for Kenny Bolin to come to the games. And then all of a sudden he moves on. And managing the Cincinnati Reds wasn't good enough for Dave Miley. He had to go on to become a manager in the Evil Empire organization. That's right, the New York Yankees. There he sits over there, manages the Evil Empire, and now the crowd is going ape shit because I've called the Yankees the Evil Empire. And the players are looking around, and they're walking around like, what's this motherfucker doing? He just called us the Evil Empire. He's talking about our manager. They said Miley is in the dugout, like shaking his head, like, what in the hell is Bolin doing? Why is my buddy turning on me? I said, so what I want you to do tonight, fans, I want you to be louder than you've ever been in this park before. I want to kick Dave Miley's butt, and I'll use the word butt. I wouldn't do that on OVW television, but tonight I'll say butt. I want to kick his butt all the way back to Columbus, Ohio, and I want everybody in here to get behind this ball club tonight. Let's get a win. And one more thing before I go, I'm going to stand up on his mound, and I'm going to do something that nobody down in that Columbus Clipper bullpen can do, and I'm going to throw a strike over this plate here, right now. So I call for the ball. They bring the ball out, and of all people, Sean Casey's down here on rehab. So Sean Casey's my catcher. Sean Casey goes behind the plate. I throw the ball straight over the plate, but it's about an inch above the goddamn plate. It's as low as you can get. And, of course, my team, strike. Sean O'Hare and Mr. Black are calling it a strike. I'm calling it a strike. I'm celebrating. I'm doing the Fargo strut. Chris comes running out to hug me over this great pitch that was an inch above the fucking plate. When Casey gets out, I said, I know it wasn't a strike. He says, Kenny, trust me, in this league, that was a strike. And it was an inch above the goddamn plate. And my best friend, Mike Coffey, was in the crowd to see it, and I didn't even know he was there. So when I go sit in my seat, he comes up. He says, that is the greatest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my life. My best friend cut the promo on the opposing team's manager, and he said, it felt like you had 10 minutes out there. I said, they told me to go 4. I said, but it was going good. No one cut me off. So, the promo was probably a little longer than that, but that's the nutshell of what it was. And that was probably as much fun as I ever had in wrestling in my life, was to get to cut a promo on a Cincinnati Reds manager.